Oh, it's you. Come on in. Welcome to the Scumm Bar. Welcome to the Scumm Bar Podcast, where we talk movies, video games, pop culture, Pellegrino, and everything in between. I'm your host, Mattbrush, and with me today, out of nowhere, from like a deep neck of the woods,
from left field,
in the red corner, I've got my special host today,
Anth0z.
Hello, Anth0z. Hello. Welcome.
Hello. I have a question. Did you pick Pellegrino because recently you said Pecorino?
I think so. Yeah, I think I just went, oh, there's another P word. Okay, Pellegrino. Then I had to search it up to see if that exists and what it is. And it's sparkling water. So there you go.
Yeah, like the San Pellegrino drinks.
Exactly. You learn something new every day. Here on the Scumm Bar Podcast.
That's what we're here for. We are here to educate.
Anth0z, how you doing?
I'm actually a little bit sore. I'm not really sure why. It's been bugging me. I think I might have slept like really oddly. And so my shoulder is like...
You sleep upside down like a bat still though, right?
Yeah, because that helps me keep my joints a little bit looser.
Right.
But I think something at night might have shifted me. So I was leaning more to one side. And now the space between the base of my neck and... like that meets the shoulder where you're supposed to kill a titan is where I'm hurting. So maybe I'm a titan.
Ooh.
And I have... Oh, this is a spoiler. No, I better not say it. Never mind. I am not a titan and nothing's wrong with the base of my neck and the shoulder.
Oh, you were leading it up to such a good joke, I bet.
No, it wasn't going to be a joke. It was just going to be like an actual spoiler of the show. But I'm like, I feel it's unfair to say anything at this point in case people aren't caught up. And yeah.
Oh, you're talking about Attack on Titan. You know what? Weirdly enough, for some reason, I thought you were going to talk about Captain Marvel. I don't know why I thought that went into Captain Marvel. But
Titan.
That's where my mind
sorry.
went.
It should go. Well, either Titan's fine. They're both good Titans. I mean, good in the sense that they are entertaining Titans.
Would you like to hear a joke?
Yes, let's do it. Usually
All right,
I would.
Here we go. Here's my joke for you. What do you get when you cross a parrot and a shark?
A park.
I promise this isn't wordplay.
What? When you cross a parrot and a shark?
Yes.
Finding Nemo 3.
Ooh, maybe. That's all you got? That's all your guesses?
A sharet?
You get a bird that will talk your head off.
Wait, what? Wait, say the joke again?
When you cross a parrot and a shark, you get a bird that will talk your head off.
Oh, I see. Oh, okay. Like when you cross it, as in, like when they are one body?
I guess. I don't know.
Okay.
It's just putting them together. Maybe
All
I
right.
lied. Maybe it is wordplay. I don't know. It sort of makes sense to me, and I found it funny.
Cool.
So,
All right, well, thank you.
There you be. There's your pirate joke. Anth0z, let's move into my favorite segment of the day. Ye-oh news.
Nice.
You have a special little tidbit of news that you would like to share with the class. Why don't you go ahead?
Wait, do I?
I think you did. Something about Avengers. But it was English instead of French.
Wait, say it again. It's kind of cutting out in my headphone.
Avengers.
Avengers?
Les Avengers.
I don't know French that well.
That's the Avengers.
Oh! I see. Les Avengers. Avengers. Okay. Right. So, Screen Rant did an interview with Kevin Feige apparently, where he mentioned that they were going to re-release EndGame coming June 28th with some extra footage. So he quotes, or I guess, yeah, I think this is a quote, "Not an extended cut, but there will be a version going into theaters with a bit of a marketing push with a few new things at the end of the movie. If you stay and watch the movie after the credits, there'll be a deleted scene, a little tribute, and a few surprises." And that'll be
What?
this coming June 28th.
So so hold on. There's a lot to unravel there. It's coming back into theaters?
Well, I mean, it hasn't left theaters yet. It's still in theaters, but I guess they're just like re-releasing, so that'll just be like a new cut. And I guess the point of it is just to keep the hype going, like keep people going to theaters until like the next set of movies that come out. Because
do you think that means it's going into Far From Home at all? Do you think that they're going to kind of bridge something there?
I don't know. They already started showing. Okay, so like EndGame was out for the first 2 weeks. I think it was like 2 or 3 weeks, and they had like a different kind of post-credit ending, like bonus footage, I guess you'd say.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't until after the first 2 or 3 weeks of the movie being in theaters that they added the Far From Home trailer to the post-credit scene.
Yeah.
So I kind of feel like if they already had that out, released for, what is it? It's been 2 months now. April. Yeah, so it's been 2 months. My guess is that if they're adding anything new that they feel they need to re-release it for, that it'll probably be something related to, like, maybe teasing something with like the new set, like the next phase of the MCU.
Right.
So maybe something with like the Eternals or actually, you know what? It might even make more sense to tease some stuff to do with like the next coming streaming stuff for Pixar. What did they call it? Oh, sorry, no, for Disney Plus.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Right? Like the Loki.
Oh, the Loki or
and
the
WandaVision
thing,
and
yeah.
Well, Black Widow's, she's getting a prequel. Oh, maybe it's that actually.
Yeah.
Maybe they could be teasing something to do with that. And the other Netflix one is Captain Falcon and Bucky. So there's those 3. And then
Right.
the prequel for Black Widow. But then we already know that there's so much more coming for the next phase of the MCU. So I don't know. I guess. Ooh, I don't know. I've seen more news. At least I can recall seeing more articles written about like finding casting or casting for the Eternals. So I don't know. Maybe it would be a tease for like something like that. Like they might have some of the actors like dressed in their potential outfits that are just maybe standing in front of a green screen. I don't know. Who knows?
Wow. That's interesting. I don't think I've
also
heard about that ever happening in a film where it's re-releasing near the end with new footage at the end.
Yeah, I mean, it's already been 2 months, right? Like a lot of
That's
movies don't even
crazy.
last like a month and a half or something. But
Yeah, so does that mean it's going to extend its release in the theaters then, or extend its stay in the theaters?
I wonder if that might be their intent.
Interesting.
I wouldn't doubt it. But it also, I think what I'm curious about is a little tribute, because like we kind of already saw a tribute to Stan Lee during, which one was, I think it was Captain Marvel, for the opening credits, where they usually show like the comic strip running over the Marvel Studios logo.
Yeah.
So I forgot. Oh, you haven't seen Captain Marvel yet, right?
Not yet,
Okay.
no.
Well, this isn't really much of a spoiler, but you know, like in the opening credits, they're running through like a whole bunch of scenes from the MCU that's taken place already, and it's like it's like it's overlaid on the Marvel Studios logo, like the 3D logo.
Right.
But for Captain Marvel, when they released that, the opening credits was a whole tribute to Stan Lee and like all of his cameos and some of his like interviews and things like that. So unless they intend to do like maybe a longer extended tribute, like I don't know who else they would. There's so many people that they could give a tribute to, so it's hard to guess on that one. But I'm curious about that. Yeah.
Crazy. Well, that's newsworthy. A re-release in theaters. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Other news that we've got on the docket for happening right now is Stranger Things Season 3 will be releasing very soon.
Yeah.
I think you said July 4th, right?
July 4th.
Yes. Yep. I just watched a trailer. I think I saw a trailer like a while ago, but I just watched the new trailer they put up there.
What do you think?
It looks to me like they're bringing it back to the first season, which I prefer. I really like the first season. But the second season, I didn't really have that much fun with. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't really what I wanted.
Right.
And I don't really know exactly what changed. I think it's that they added more characters that I wasn't interested in.
Well,
And they like subverted expectations again, like all these shows keep doing, and not giving you what you want to see. So like the main character, the dude, and then the main character, the girl, they like purposely made them not see each other through like the whole season.
Yeah.
And that was really frustrating for me as a viewer because it was building tension that didn't need to be there. So it was really annoying.
Yeah, I think I know what you mean. And also with the second season, because they introduced those new characters that I can't, maybe if I'm not remembering correctly, but introducing those two characters looked like it was supposed to make such a huge impact on that season alone. But maybe it's just me, but it didn't seem like that was the case. Like, if anything, the younger sister was there just for creating a bit of a rift between the boys who kind of like had a crush on her.
Yeah.
But then her older brother, who was like, he was the Red Ranger in the Power Rangers reboot.
Oh.
And his character, like, it almost seemed like he was supposed to replace what Steve was in the first.
The bully guy? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You're right. He was another alpha, but he was like more alpha than Steve was, you know? So it was very it didn't really make sense. He had even less motivations and less character than Steve in the first season, so he was just a watered down version, but then apparently more aggressive. So it made him seem very unrealistic.
Yeah, that's right. He did seem a little bit on the unrealistic side.
All that being said, Sean Astin was a great addition, though, to last season. He was good.
Well, that was fun having him on there.
I think most people liked seeing Sean Astin back. It was cool. So that was nice.
Yeah, it was cute. Yeah.
One thing that really bothered me was 11 and her being
12,
part
13,
of,
and 14.
Well, yeah, her being part of like that whole thing when she went off to that other city and there was all these other people with powers just like her, and I was like, this is not the X-Men. Like, I don't care about any of these people, and I don't want to find out more about their powers. Like, I like it better as a condensed small story of just kids going to school in a small town. It's much more like It, which is something I like a lot. So when it's straight away in season 2, I was like, what are you doing? You know?
I know. Like, there's a whole episode devoted to that, and I think know.
Don't world build in a show like this. We don't want it.
I know. I think I really hated that episode. It just bothered me so much that I had to sit through it.
I know.
Kind of like,
me too.
Because like, you know, you're unsure if anything is going to relate to the rest of the season, and you already want to commit to the rest of the season.
And it really didn't have to do with the rest of the season. Like, she just that episode was literally just ripped right out of the rest of the season. You can edit it right out and be totally fine.
And is it just me, but did this trailer, like, maybe I didn't watch the most updated one, but the trailer for season 3, did that even include any of those characters?
No, I don't think so. From what I can tell, it doesn't show any of them. That's why I'm saying it looks like it's season 1 again, because it's brought it right back down to just the town and the main characters here, which I think is really interesting.
Yeah.
So, and there's even a specific shot of Jonathan. Wow, I remember his name. And the main dude's sister. There's like those two with like weapons ready, and then like the main dude, and then like his friends, and they're all like back to back, like Fellowship of the Ring kind of style, and they're like gonna try to fight something. And it's like, it reminds me a lot of the first season in that sense. There's the main dude's sister is like fumbling with a shotgun for like a second, you know, and it seems like humble and like jokey like the first season, so I like that.
Right.
And then again, like the cop Tucker, no, what's his name? Parker? Something like that. Something Hopper.
Yeah.
And then the mom, it looks like they have again another like quest thing there going on, and I found their story really compelling as well, so I would like to see more of that. So I don't know, I'm definitely gonna jump on board, definitely gonna watch this when it comes out, but I'm a little cautious because of the last season. But
yeah, right. I'm curious to know what kind of like what flavor Eggos 11's gonna eat this season. Like, if she's just gonna stick with the originals, or like, I don't know, by what year does this take place then?
This is probably 85.
85? Yeah. Yeah. Did they have like blueberry or chocolate chip yet?
I don't know.
Or like low fat? Yeah. I'm really curious. I remember actually I read some tweets where people were saying like, I can't wait to eat Eggos while watching this.
That's what I did. I did that with my girlfriend. I did that last year as well. It's
nice.
So good. It was funny. We only did it for like the first episode, but
you know what? I might get together some. I'm gonna make some chicken and make some Eggo. Have some chicken and waffles, Canadian style, with Eggo style waffles.
Oh yeah.
with traditional, authentic Canadian maple syrup.
Do it up. I just have Aunt Jemima.
And she's cool too.
Yeah, their syrup is pretty dang good. So.
She packs flavor. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's all the news I got. Stranger Things and Avengers. You got anything else?
I don't know. I don't have to.
No, if you know of something, let me know. I don't know anything else going on right
now. Nah.
Okay, let's go into our topics. Do you want to go first, or?
Yeah.
go ahead there, Anth0z.
Right?
I feel
Should
like I go
I?
first
Okay.
every time.
Do you? No. Okay, so I'm not really sure what made me think about this, but I know at least recently. But so as you know, I like to collect Amiibo. I have like a small collection of Funko Pop, and I only collect it just based on some of the characters in TV shows and movies who I can find like a really strong connection with. And I used to collect Pokemon cards a lot when I was a kid, but even now, whenever Toys R Us had it was I think it was for all of 2018 that Toys R Us every month they would release one like a promo card that you could find only at Toys R Us, and it was just part of like a free release set of cards. So I would line up at Toys R Us maybe like an hour or so before they opened just to make sure that I would get it. Yeah, so there's a few things that I've been collecting, and then I realized like these things that I've liked to collect over time, they started when I was a kid, although like I wasn't necessarily able to pay for it with my own money, but it was just the fascination of being able to collect these things and own these objects that like and collect the whole set kind of thing that stuck with me up until now. Otherwise, like I wouldn't have started on Amiibos or like Funko Pop. It's a little bit different just because I already know once I got into it that there were like 1,000 available, and there was no way I was gonna
You'll
get
never
through.
collect them all, no.
Absolutely not.
And there's very rare ones too.
Yeah, exactly, right? So just because of those facts, it was like, okay, that's a little bit too daunting. I have to limit myself. But yeah, and did I mention like even Lego too? Like I really like to collect as a kid. I had all these different sets from different like time, like eras and time frames. Like I'd have like a space one or like an underwater one. There was one that's like where they actually go like a time traveling set. And so when I was a kid, I would actually I'd start off in that time traveling set, and then the main characters would travel to all these different sets, and like that would be like just the different time zones. But anyway, yeah, so I thought about it recently how like I'm doing this as an adult, but I feel like most of these were supposed to be catered towards kids, at least in the first place. Nowadays, I mean, marketers could be they could be directing their focus a little bit differently, knowing that adults are the ones that were the kids that started with them and kept going with it. But there obviously are still kids that will get into it now, and then the adults now would try to maybe influence their current kids to get into it as well, right? So there's like different markets there. But I guess I don't know, what do you see being the main demographic for things like that? For like Lego currently, Pokemon cards, Funko Pop, Amiibo is a little bit different because like I feel like that's more for like that's like specific to Nintendo Switch, where I find like most of the adults have had more chance at like buy. It could still be like parents buying it for their kids, but I don't know. Yeah, like where do you see these markets like really existing? Like, do you feel like it's like the adult collector, or do you feel like it is really the kid that they made like direct their focus towards?
That is interesting, because I do think it has shifted, because I think it used to be specifically directed, like the target audience would have been kids, although marketers around the world, obviously they want it to be everyone. They want everyone to want to buy their product, so they do whatever they can to try to make it so everyone buys it. But the target market would have started with kids. But you are right. I mean, I was working at EB Games for like 8 years, and it slowly went from a video game store to a collectible store. Like the whole marketing
like
of everything
Think
just
Geek.
changed to Funko Pops, right? Pop Finals or whatever. Like it was everywhere. It just changed to that. And the consumers were all adults. It was all adults buying collectible items and buying multiple ones, as gifts. 'Cause they work well for stocking stuffers, but they work really well as just random gifts for people. So the majority of people buying stuff were older, definitely. So with Funko Pops, it's an older style thing for collecting because it gets you on nostalgia. Nostalgia is very powerful today. We keep seeing things. Well, Stranger Things is a nostalgia machine pretty much, but and that's the thing. Stranger Things is actually just the adult audience going for it, because it's not really directed towards kids. It's directed more towards adults based on their childhood. So it's really weird. It's like a interesting thing that seems to be working very well.
Yeah.
But Funko Pops, they definitely get a lot of kids as well. A lot of adults buying them for their kids, for sure. But it seems to get both target audiences, so it's very interesting. But other things like cards don't seem to go to adults, you know? Like, there are adults who buy Magic cards or Pokemon cards or what's Yu-Gi-Oh! And stuff, but
Yeah.
I would say the majority are still kids buying those, or parents buying them for their kids.
Yeah, I can definitely see that, and I feel like that's because the cards themselves haven't necessarily been changed, if that makes sense. Whereas like Lego, yes, they may have branched out into like different themes where that they can build like into Star Wars or like Harry Potter. Well, Harry Potter is kind of it's a mix of like a kid / adult kind of movie. But at least the way I see Star Wars, it's a little bit more of like adult kind of movie than it is directed towards like kids. But yeah, with like something like Pokemon cards, like that hasn't really changed other than just like adding variations of the current of the previous cards.
Right.
And part of just part of why I thought it was interesting was because when I would line up at Toys R Us, or if I actually went to Toys R Us like the day before just to confirm that they were going to have these cards available and what time they would be releasing them, because they wouldn't actually release them always when the store opened. The store might open at like 9, but they wouldn't release them until 11. And
right,
so either
wait
way,
for their stock to come in or something, or they had to. Well, actually, I don't know why they would wait till 11 because they probably had their stock already.
Well,
if it's a big release.
I feel like part of it is because like that doesn't make sense. Because if 11 o'clock our time, I was thinking it could have been like a time zone thing, but it could just be like the way that it was advertised like out east and based on our I know that doesn't make sense. But anyway, I just remember like the reactions of asking the staff like, oh, what time is the Pokemon card coming out? And she's looking at me like, why do you want this card? and then also being in line and noticing that the people that were actually there first to get these cards were people that were like older than me, and they weren't necessarily like, okay, like here in Vancouver, you'll notice that there are some elderly people who will line up for their youngins, you know, for like their kids or like their grandkids or whatever, right?
Yeah.
They're not lining up because they want it. They're lining up because like they've got the time. They've got all the time in the world to just line up. Whereas like the kids have to, I don't know, get up and eat breakfast and sure. So, but the people that would actually line up in front of me, the ones that would get there before me, were the keen ones like me who were roughly around my age, but knew that like this is what it took to get this card.
Right.
And then I noticed that like the parents who weren't necessarily in the know and just like passed by like, oh, what's this lineup for? Like, oh, my kid might like this, and like they would kind of jump in. But even like the parents that were coming for their kids, like they wouldn't even come until like a little bit later because like they're not as much in tune. And that's why I found like, wow, like these free collectible things, like I would have expected so many more kids to be there because it's just like Pokemon cards. And when I was a kid, I wanted to get all the Pokemon cards possible. And if it was free, like I'm sure I would have tried to do it.
Right.
But it was just so interesting seeing like, wow, there's so many people that are my age that are into it and like putting the effort into getting it, and like way more than the kids I see. But that could just be like our area, living in Vancouver and Richmond. It's like just overall we have a different distribution of kids and the way they see the like collectibles and stuff like that. But
there's probably a lot of factors to it. I really don't know all of the reasons why it would be that way, but I know when I was a kid, I would have never known when things released. Like I could care less about release dates or anything like that. When I was a kid, I just bought Pokemon cards, you know? I just went to the store, I'd see the Pokemon logo, and I want the cards.
Yeah.
But I didn't care at all when, you know, the newest Pokemon card was coming out or anything. I wouldn't have known that. And I mean, the internet wasn't too big when I was a kid, so I mean, I guess I wouldn't have searched it up too much either, but I just wanted the cards because I wanted the cards, but I didn't put much thought into what was better than others and all that kind of stuff. But you know who would have known that is my parents or people that wanted to buy me that kind of stuff.
Right.
So
do you think they really would have though?
If they wanted to. I mean, I wasn't super into Pokemon, but I bet you if I was really into it, I would have had family members or something that would have known what was the best one and the newest one coming out, and they would have tried to get that for me. So I had similar situations happen. So yeah.
Oh, I see. Yeah, because when I was younger, if I wanted Pokemon cards, like my grandma knew I liked them, but there's no way she would have. I mean, like, I don't think she would have put in the effort to find out, like, ooh, which pack is better. I think it's just like, oh, Pokemon cards.
Well,
He likes that.
She may go through the effort of asking the clerk, right? And that's pretty common at EV Games as well. You get a lot of parents who come in not knowing. They'd be like, I know my son's really into this, but I have no idea what is the style he would want. And then you're like, oh, okay, well, like, here's a new one came out. This one's rare. This one's not. This actually happened with the Skylanders fiasco. When Skylanders came out, that was a huge collectible game that everybody wanted, but parents knew nothing about it, and the kids were the only ones who knew it. So the target market was clearly the kids, but also the kids only knew the knowledge, and then us, the clerks. So when a parent came in, they had no idea what was rare and what wasn't rare. And then, like, also, we didn't know what was going to become rare and what wasn't going to become rare because it was based on the inventory we were getting at the time. So
yeah,
that was
now
a really
and then Amibos came out and crushed Skylanders pretty much.
Yeah, I know.
At least that's the way I see it.
Yeah, Amibos are they really, I guess, saw the potential in Skylanders and just ran with it. So
yeah, well, the art alone is amazing for Amiibo, like. Because you look at the figure and it's like really nicely detailed. Like you won't normally see a lot of like colors over the line kind of thing, right?
Right.
And then the box, like the packaging that it comes in, is like so beautiful. It's like it also gives. I think I kind of talked about this briefly, but it also gives way for all these other artists who want to make custom amiibos. Like they'll make the custom packaging and everything too.
Right.
And it just like, oh, it's just so cool. Yeah, and I guess the thing with the rarity as well, like nobody really knew what was going to be rare until they found out that, like, oh, there were only 2 of this one at the store and they're sold out. What? Are we going to get more? And then all of a sudden everybody's on Reddit and like, okay, where do I get this one?
Accessibility to this information is a lot better now than it used to be. So finding out about what's rare, what's not rare is way easier today than it ever was. So maybe that's also why the target market has changed. Maybe that's why more people like you are able to look into this stuff and find out about it and care about it. It's because you can. Like for me, I'm not really there yet, but I'm almost into coin collecting. And it's really only because my new boss is really into coin collecting. And so he's told me some of the things about coins that make them more or less rare. And then suddenly you're like, oh, now that I know that knowledge, I'm interested in this one coin or that one coin. And so, like, it's because I know the knowledge that it became a thing I'm interested in. Mm-hmm. And that could be the exact same for like Amiibos and all that stuff. Maybe you don't care, and then something strikes you, and you go, "Oh, I know that one's rare," and oh my god, there's an opportunity right now for that thing, and then that's how it all starts, and then you get really into it after that, and that could be a trigger that happens to everybody who just goes on Reddit, and suddenly they see one thing, and then that's their trigger, and they get into it.
Yeah.
So that could be why the demographic has shifted. That's also why the marketers are very happy.
Yeah, probably, because like the ones that have been growing up with them now are the ones who are making money so that they can keep buying.
Mm-hmm. And these marketers are you and I too. I mean, the people that are marketing are our age and trying to market towards kids, but they also know how to market towards us. So
yeah, that's interesting. For some reason, I just assumed that all the marketers, like all these companies who make this stuff, they've all got like gray hair. They're like 60 to 70 years old because they were the ones.
Those are the executives and the CEOs and anybody who's like higher up. They're the ones that are older. But the people that are actually doing the real grunt work, those are the ones that are going to be around our age anyways. That would have came out of school and gone into marketing. So
yeah, that's true. That's so true. Yeah.
So I mean, anybody making the Amiibo link,
like all 23 of them.
Yeah, exactly. Like somebody's like, oh, you got to make an Amiibo link, and then somebody's come up with a design for this. Somebody else come up with the idea and all this, and yeah, it's a bunch of different spinning parts, obviously, but they're very happy because they're doing it well.
Oh, they're doing it so well. Like I kind of thought that the hype of Amiibos was gonna die down, but every once in a while, like I'll check the is it a local Reddit? Well, it's just like the Canadian Reddit for Amiibos and like releases and stuff in Canada,
right?
And people are just like, they're so on it. Like they're not even just checking like Canadian sites. So they'll check like Amazon Japan, Amazon UK, like Amazon anywhere, and other like third party distributors that even if they sell it at a marked up price, for some of the people on Reddit, it still means getting it by release date or like just earlier than everybody else. Cause like some of those things they'll release in Japan like months or I don't know, weeks or something like that before it releases in North America. And so even if they pay a little bit more, they get it sooner and they're willing to shell out like that much more money for paying for the item plus shipping and everything. And it's crazy to see like what a thing collecting really is these days.
I just had an idea. Tell me if this is crazy or not.
It's crazy.
But the whole idea of Pokemon is collecting. Like, it's all about collecting, right? What if they did an amiibo for every 150 of the first gen? It's a lot of amiibos, obviously. But what if it was like a partnership? Well, it's Nintendo, obviously, but Nintendo, Pokemon, boom, we're releasing all first gen amiibos, and they're gonna come out in sporadic waves. And like, I honestly think at first people would be like, it's too much, it's gonna be too much, and then it would do so well. I think it would sweep. And like people would be like, I have to get this one, I have to get that one, I have to get that one. I'll just get the starters. I'll get the starters I know. I'll get the cute ones. Oh, you know what? I'll get all the fire types. Okay, never mind. I'm gonna get them all. Like,
yeah,
I feel like it would go really well.
I think that's such a mixed bag because, like, okay, what makes the amiibos work? Like, so for Smash Bros, there's a finite number of characters. So they can only really create based on the characters and maybe some variations of costumes.
Right.
But the thing is, aside from the fact that it's a collectible thing, as a function, they still work to like you add them into the game and they become like a
they do something in the game,
like a trainer option for you. Like you battle it, you level it up, and therefore you have something to train against, like something that is it becomes as good as you, and so therefore you have something to kind of work past. Right. Same thing with like the Zelda games. Each of those amiibos offers like a different kind of bonus, and I feel like currently we don't have. I mean, like it's going to be coming out like the Pokemon Switch game, Sword and Shield, but I feel like that would be such an overload to create
so many.
Like, yeah, because like if they create so first of all, like how many Pokemon are there now? There must be 500.
But just first gen, because first gen would be all that really sells. I mean, don't get me wrong, second, third, I'm sure there's going to be ones that people want, but first gen, it's almost all that people will want because they know it the most.
Yeah, well, that's true. Like it probably would sell the most if there was a game that had the potential mechanics to where you can like reap the benefits of the bonuses of each character.
Kind of Pokemon Go for the Wii, or sorry for the for the Switch. They just need to make some kind of Pokemon Go, and then this one thing allows you to do some small gameplay change in the Pokemon Go Switch version.
Yeah,
and then you can just have it so people buy their stupid little collectible thing and put it on the shelf because everyone wants to have like Pikachu and then like Rattata, Pidgey. Like then they suddenly have like really weird ones like Tangela. They're like, oh, but it looks so cool.
Yeah.
I could just see that. I could really see that.
Actually, Tangela would look pretty cool. You know what would look really cool, or I bet I would like to look cool, would be Ghastly, because he's got like the transparent gas through him.
Yeah. I bet you he'd have see-through purple. Like, I bet you the purple would be see-through in him.
Yeah,
I could see
but
that.
I wouldn't want it to be like that stupid, shiny, kind of clear plastic color
like
purple.
Like the old N64 controllers?
Yeah. I wouldn't like that. Like, I'd want it to be something that like it looks like cotton or something like that, but it's
nice.
but it's hard.
Would Haunter be the same? Because Ghastly's more of a gas, but Haunter is the same color scheme.
He's more of a haunt. Well,
but he's like he looks more solid though. So would he be see-through or would he not?
I mean, he generally is solid when you see him in the cartoons. Same with Gengar.
Gengar definitely seems solid.
Yeah.
He's solid as a rock.
Yeah, except he's a ghost, so he's solid as a ghost type, I guess. He's as transparent as a ghost type.
Physical attacks do not work on him.
No.
Only special attacks.
True. Unless there's I feel like there's some sort of way you could use a physical attack. Like if there was some sort of like special move that converts special attacks to
there might be. There's a lot of the special hidden moves and stuff like that I don't know much about, and I watched a professional Pokemon battle not too long ago, and I was shocked how interesting and how much tactics there were involved.
Yeah.
How much tactic was involved in the battle. It was really shocking because I was like, what? Like the special move can radically change the whole battle. It was crazy.
Yeah. And like the natures of Pokemon that affect the environment and stuff like that. And,
there was one Pokemon. It was such a lame Pokemon the guy threw out, but because of it, he was able to make it put a environmental move out that changed the nature of the battlefield. And then that Pokemon died. And when it died, he threw out his other one. But the battlefield was already changed. And it had like enhanced his next Pokemon to be amazing. And I was like,
exactly.
That's probably so simple for Pokemon people, but for me, I was just like, that's insane. Like, that just blew my mind. For me, I just attack, and then the thing dies, and I go, yes.
Yeah. I mean, you could probably still do that and win. It's possible, but
maybe, but not with these people. They have good tactics.
Yeah.
Okay, Anth0z, let's move on to something very, very special
Cool.
called the Wheel of Scum.
Scum.
On the Wheel of Scum, we have many awesome things that happen. I don't have my sheet in front of me. Give me 2 seconds.
I will vamp. So,
Vamp.
while our lovely host is looking for the games, why don't you, the listeners, take a second to think
got it.
about what you want to eat tomorrow
Ooh.
for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Good. That's actually smart, and I'll do the same after I read this off on the Wheel of Scum. Anth0z, kid music. Oh, you got it. Nice. Awesome. On the Wheel of Scum, there's many options here. There's actually 6, in fact, and one of the options would be Pirate Adventure. The next option on the Wheel of Scum would be Shakespeare in ABR. Third option on the Wheel of Scum is Crossover Crossbover, which is a temporary title for now. Fourth option on the Wheel of Scum is A Haunting Tale of Woe. Fifth option on the Wheel of Scum is Who Wants to Be Scum Millionaire? And sixth and final option is Swashbuckler. Anth0z, will you please spin the Wheel of Scum?
Okay, I'm commanding your finger to click now.
It is spinning. The wheel is spinning. The excitement is rising, and the wheel is spinning.
And the crowd goes wild.
Wild, what a world.
What a world. What's that from?
Oh,
That's
actually,
from that was
Spaceballs?
that's Mel Brooks from Spaceballs.
Spaceballs, yeah.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? It landed on Parlay OK, which
Oh.
we have changed into our new game, Crossover Crossbover.
Yes.
I kind of like it. Okay, so we've never played this game before. In fact, I'm not even sure if we made enough of the rules for it to work, but we will look into it.
Who needs
It
rules
says,
when you got crossbovers?
crossover madness with Anth0z and Mattbrush. Whoever is it must come up with 2 things. The other must mash them together in an epic synopsis. Okay, rock, paper, scissors to see who's it.
Is this possible? Because I can't.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
We'll
there's
do this.
delay.
Here we go. 1,
Rock,
2,
paper, scissors.
scissors.
Oh, wow.
Okay, here we go.
Ready?
Yeah.
Rock, paper, scissors.
What are you?
Oh, sorry.
Oh, I lost.
Nice.
Okay, you're it. You think of 2 things, and I will think of a crossbover for you.
Okay. Crossbows
Crossbows?
and petunias.
Petunias. Okay. In the land of Lehigh, there was a very peaceful village of mole people, and the mole people enjoyed life, gardening and growing things. It's a lot like the Shire. Just think of the Shire, but mole people instead for some reason. Oh, they also live underground, so it still works. And these mole people, they love growing petunias. In fact, they have a petunia festival each year. And this year, every year they have a giant petunia festival. But this year, unfortunately, their arch nemesis, the flying mosquitoes, happened to be on their way to try to attack them and battle them. So one of the mightiest mole persons decided that they must defend themselves, and he invented something new called a crossbow, and he must train his mole friends to fight the flying mosquitoes with his crossbow. And that is my movie, and it is called Attack of the Mosquitoes.
You know the best part of the great job, by the way. Great job.
Thank you.
So the best part about that was that the arch enemies were flying mosquitoes because mosquitoes don't already fly. These were a very specific breed of flying mosquitoes.
I didn't even think about that. Awesome.
Great
Well, that is our
job. Good work with that
first ever
story.
rendition of Crossover Crossbover. I enjoyed it, and I welcome it in the future as our new Wheel of Scum game.
That's awesome.
Okay. I want to see art of that. Somebody who is listening, make art for us.
Yes, please show us what a flying mosquito will look like.
Flying, yeah, exactly. In a weird world, but flying mosquitoes.
It's gonna be a mosquito that's like hang gliding. Doesn't have any wings.
Exactly. Or like in helicopters with machine guns and stuff. Like. Okay, Anth0z, you know what time it is. It is
8:12.
Yes, it's 8:12, which means it's topic 2.
Okay.
So here we go. Getting into topic number 2. This is Mattbrush's topic. Everyone. So we are now going to go into my topic, which you've actually already brought up. So we've talked a little bit about it already, and we're going to go into it even more.
Ooh.
So this is my topic. My topic is this: the future.
Sorry, I just got my friend's reference.
Oh, what's your friend's reference? Go for it.
So Ross was trying to explain to who he was on a date.
My sandwich.
Oh shoot! No! It wasn't. No, that wasn't from a date. That was.
No, I know. I just like that.
That was from like the interview where the guy fell asleep. He was trying to explain to his date like something that he did. Shoot, what did he do? She was like, "Who does that?" No. Okay, anyway, so he was saying like, he's trying to explain himself like, like this is my, oh shoot, how did he say it? That is why I'm about to say what I'm about to say vis-a-vis the following. and he just kept vamping like the fact that he's going to say something. So I can't remember what it is even you said just now, but it just reminded me of it.
I said, this is my topic. My topic is this.
Yes, this is my topic. Or no, my topic is this. This is my topic. Yeah, it just reminded me of that. Anyway.
The future of Marvel movies after post-haste of EndGame. Now,
Yes.
we've talked to this a little bit in our EndGame episode, but I did want to go into this a little bit more and talking more specifically the different types of things that are coming out. So yes, we've heard grumblings and rumblings of what they're going to be doing next with
That's
the
my
Marvel
stomach.
series. Exactly. Our
Yes.
stomachs, they're fine-tuned to the Marvel news. And so...
Marvel's
I don't know much about them.
Universe.
I don't know much about the new things coming out from Marvel, but you seem to know a lot more about them, so I'd like to talk about them. So first and foremost, what is the Eternals? I don't know the Eternals at all.
You know what? To be completely honest, I actually don't know who the Eternals are.
Which is fair. I mean, it's Guardians of the Galaxy was also like that. Nobody knew what the heck they were, so it might be okay, but...
So I'm looking, I just Googled the Eternals, and the first thumbnail, it looks like what I see is somebody who looks like Melina from Mortal Kombat, somebody who looks like Magneto but has got pink glasses, somebody who looks like a cross between Reese Witherspoon and Dr. Manhattan, and then somebody in the background who looks like She-Ra dyed her hair blonde.
And actually, it's funny you say Dr. Manhattan because the girl with the black hair looks like the girl from...
Oh! Yeah. Right.
She looks a lot like that girl, whatever her name was. The one that was with Night Owl.
Like she's kind of like a badger girl.
Badger girl. Mole person.
Yeah, she's the mole people person.
Badger
I'm sorry
face.
to the Eternals for knowing nothing about you.
Yeah.
But yeah. Okay, I see what you mean. Yeah. The only thing, I feel like this was we briefly talked about it. How the Eternals, like, they recently had some casting. And I feel like they were finalized for a couple of the characters, and so Angelina Jolie is supposed to be one of them. I have no idea which character, but they casted how did we say his name? Kumail Nanjiani. He's Indian comedy actor.
I think I know the guy. Yeah,
I think he does like stand up. I think he does stand up. He must. Yeah. He did stand up. He had a movie that was like about his like him becoming like famous as a comedian. It was The Big Sick. So he was in that. And then he's in an upcoming movie. Oh, Stuber, with Dave Bautista.
Another Marvel
where
actor.
he is. Well, yeah. I mean, like he's like. yes, a Marvel character, or an actor in Marvel, who I guess might not be.
That guy's famous for Silicon Valley. That's his biggest role, I think.
Oh, okay, interesting. Stuber kind of looks interesting. Like, I wouldn't mind watching it. It looks like it'll be fun. It's where he's an Uber driver, and he picks up Dave Bautista, and then in the middle of it, Dave Bautista, I think, ends up being some sort of like CIA or like NYPD or something like that, and so so whatever Kumail's character name is, like, he becomes the driver. He pretty much like becomes a chauffeur that just gets caught in everything that Dave Bautista has to do, like on duty or whatever. So that looks fun. And then who else is in the Eternals cast? Richard Madden, he's Robb Stark, and he was the bodyguard. Yeah. So it looks like those are the ones that are for sure cast. But I have no idea which ones they're going to be. Maybe Angelina Jolie will be the Reese Witherspoon Dr. Manhattan man. I'm not sure. Well, who knows? Well, okay. Is there anything that you've heard about the movie at all, or anything?
I don't know anything about it. Yeah, it's just reading the brief synopsis, it sounds more like Guardians. They're just like space people.
Yeah, by looking at the thumbnail,
sound very interesting to me.
You know, the thing that I find really interesting about going this route, like, I wouldn't say I know a lot about the Marvel universe in general, but like, even prior to the MCU, like, I knew who Iron Man was and Thor, War Machine, Black Widow. Like, I knew all these characters in some form due to collecting Overpower cards. There was like a set of Marvel cards. So I knew it from at least that, like some video games, some comics. But in any of the iterations of stuff, I've known Marvel, I've never heard of the Eternals. And being that I feel like I would be the average person to watch the Marvel movie, and I'm not like an avid Marvel follower, but I also don't know zero. And I feel like being in this position, I'm interested that they're going with something like the Eternals that is seemingly a lot less known. I could be wrong, but it's an interesting direction from my perspective.
Well, I mean, I don't want to judge it just because I judged Guardians, and then Guardians was like my favorite one, so I really liked it. So I mean, I don't know. I have faith that they'll hopefully do something interesting, but I don't really know where they're going. But I am interested in the Disney Plus stuff when they're going into Black Widow and going into Loki. So yeah, that's interesting to me. And then also with the other two, what's the one you mentioned earlier? Winter Soldier and Falcon?
Winter Soldier and Captain. Oh, did I say? Oh, I said Captain Falcon and Bucky. But it might just be called Falcon and Bucky or something. Like, they might not have the Captain.
Isn't he the new Captain America, though? He's got the shield.
Yeah, but I don't know if they're actually changing his name, or I don't know if the title of the streaming service is going to be called Captain Falcon and Bucky.
Right.
I don't know if they've actually confirmed that. You know what? Another thing I find interesting about that they're going to be doing the Eternals. This is kind of cool. Eternals, cover of New Eternals Apocalypse Now one from February 2000. So that'd be kind of cool if maybe if they're using the Eternals in some form to start telling a story that guides us towards like their version of Apocalypse and not like the Sony or Fox or whoever did the past X-Men movies. Is that Fox?
That was Fox, yeah.
Yeah, like...
Well, that'd be a way to introduce the X-Men too in an interesting fashion, so that'd be cool.
Yeah, potentially. But anyways, what I find interesting about them doing the Eternals is that I think Guardians of the Galaxy was also one of the lesser known set of characters out of like all the MCU. But I feel like that struck really well with a lot of people, just not knowing a lot of the background and just checking out like a new team of superheroes that was just like a mishmash of just whatever, right? Like, what did they call them at the end? Like a bunch of a-holes? Yeah, that's... Right? But it was just like super fun to watch their dynamics. So, you know, maybe we'll get something like that, like similar to that with the Eternals, not knowing what the characters are like beforehand, and then just starting fresh with them and like growing a bit more, understanding their dynamic. Yeah. Like we could kind of get that same idea.
It sounds like they also may be doing a Hulk movie like on his own.
No, really?
Yeah. It's Kevin Feige teases future plans for Hulk is the title of this. But just reading it really quick, it sounds like that it's something they want to do at least. I don't know if they'll be able to, but
they say they want to do a lot of things. I read recently that they actually wanted to, like every Marvel movie that they wanted to produce, they approached Keanu Reeves and he said really? No to like all of them. Yeah, apparently they asked him for like every single movie.
Yeah, I remember an article of them wanting him to play
Star-Lord?
No, it was
Iron Man. Black Widow.
Yeah, Black Widow. No, I saw one for him wanting to play Doctor Strange. I know he was approached for Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
But he was also approached for, I believe, the Inhumans casting when they were doing that show.
Oh.
I'm like pretty sure he got casted for that.
Oh, okay.
Or like was asked, I mean, and then he said no. Like I'm pretty sure he said no to all of them, but
right. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, he was definitely in the looks for Doctor Strange. He would have been an interesting Doctor Strange.
Yeah, he would have been. Well, you know, I like what old Benny did, Mr. Benedict.
Yeah, no, I do really enjoy Benedict Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange. I thought the Doctor Strange movie was interesting, but he's better as a side character. So he plays off really well in Endgame and Infinity War. So yeah. I'm very interested to see how they're going to do X-Men. Clearly, they're going to move up to X-Men somehow, but I want to know how do they eventually bring in X-Men, and not even necessarily for the X-Men. I'm more curious about Doctor Doom. I want to see how he comes in as a villain because I think he could be the next sort of big, over, terrible baddie that is versus all of them kind of thing. Because Doctor Doom is like the most intelligent villain. It should be Red Skull and Doctor Doom and Magneto. Those should be the three big villains for most of the Marvel movies. But they haven't really been able to do that because Magneto and Doctor Doom are both with Fox, but not anymore. So I would really like to see them throw that in more. I'd like to see Magneto being the villain for multiple movies and not just X-Men. He should be a big giant baddie, and so should Doctor Doom. And Red Skull, they kind of didn't know what to do, I think, so they just kind of had to... They couldn't keep using him, I believe because the actor. So they just kind of had to cast him aside. So I'd like to see them use those two villains that they've got now and really put them into a bunch of movies.
I totally agree with you on Magneto. I remember reading a little while back, it was like IGN's top 100 supervillains or something like that. I can't remember who was number one. It might have been the Joker or Magneto. Like, I remember those two being definitely like the top 10, maybe even like top 5. But I mean, you know exactly why that those are the top, right? I mean, there's Joker in every instance is always something that like not necessarily bests Batman. Like he doesn't ever really best Batman physically, but always like mentally for somebody who is seemingly not supposed to be like mentally strong. I find him like he's almost like secretly incredibly mentally strong, but without like without giving that notion of it, right? But anyway, aside from him, Magneto, yeah, like I remember him during like the 90s animated series where he was the first villain in like the first couple episodes, and he was the one that they all had to team up. Like he was the first one that they all had to team up to fight.
Yeah.
And then every once in a while he would come back with like a new set of like henchmen. Like who did he have next? It was like Mystique and the Blob and Pyro or something like that, and
Juggernaut and all that. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then a little bit later on, he was the one who was pretty much starting this whole like mutant revolution, and he created like Asteroid M and everything. Like, what a pivotal mutant character.
The most
like
compelling
that
thing about him too is you almost always understand his actions.
Yeah,
you almost always get it because even Charles always says like it was his upbringing.
Yeah,
because of the Holocaust incident.
Yeah,
but it's like no matter what, it's pretty much just Charles and him. And the best thing is that they both kind of struggle with that line. Magneto sometimes pulls to the good, and Charles sometimes pulls to the bad. So it's a really interesting moment where you've got them kind of like swaying on this balance of good and bad. Mm-hmm. So their dynamic is great. But then if you have Magneto team up, like I would love to see, and I know Marvel couldn't do this in the past, but they can now. And I'd love to see Doctor Doom and Magneto and let's say Doc Ock from Spiderman or something team up and be like bad guys together against everyone.
Yeah.
Because like you've got geniuses who are evil making big plans. The Lego Avengers games. No, it is Lego Marvel, sorry. The Lego Marvel games are the best storytelling of this. Like they have all the villains all work together, like Loki's with like Red Skull, who's with like Doc Ock and Magneto, and they're all working together with these gigantic plans, and it's so cool. And it's like, oh, I'd love to see that on this big screen with Marvel. Instead of throwing us a Thanos, which I think is really interesting, this is the other way to keep me captivated, I think, is throw in better villains now that are working together. And villains from the different movies, so that we not only go look at the Avengers, but also look at this team of bad people. And then you can have it on the poster, the literal Civil War poster of them like running at each other kind of thing. But mean it for real. That'd be cool. So,
it would be cool to see what Marvel intends to do with a supervillain. Because you're talking about having two to team up, which is different from what they did with Thanos, right? Like Thanos was pretty much like the one overarching supervillain across all of the movies of the MCU. We just didn't entirely realize it until probably one of the Thor movies, or Guardians of the Galaxy, because that's probably when they first started.
Yeah, I think they started teasing Thanos around then. Yeah.
Oh no, wait, was Guardians before Avengers? Because otherwise, Avengers should have been the first one. Because Loki was already working under Thanos, right? So if Avengers came out, I think Avengers came out first.
Before, Guardians.
Okay, so then technically I think we knew for sure by Avengers. We might have been teased before that, but anyway, because of that, like DC, they're doing this whole dark side epic right now. At least they're leading towards it, because Justice League, they fought Steppenwolf, who is supposed to be sort of like one of the generals or something of Darkseid, I think.
Okay.
And the way when I was younger, like the way that I saw Darkseid and Thanos, like to me, just because of like the way they look, they pretty much seemed like the DC versus Marvel versions of each other.
Okay.
And I think, so that's the route DC is going. So timing wise, it'll be interesting to see what happens by the time Darkseid is actually in a Justice League movie. What will be the supervillain route that Marvel has chosen to go with? Because technically they could be competing during that timeline with having one supervillain versus potentially one or two or whatever. Like, are they going to even care based on like their track record? And
a lot of people have brought up that Marvel will go for Ultron. And if they go that route, then that will be... Wait, is his name Ultron? What's his name? Is that Transformers?
No, Ultron was from Avengers 2. Like the one...
oh, sorry. Why did I say Ultron? Who am I thinking of?
Galactus?
Thank you, Galactus.
Okay, yeah.
But hold on, is Ultron also in Transformers?
There's probably an Ultron in Transformers.
I feel like the Ultron is Transformers, but anyway.
It's because it's Cybertron, and then there's there's the Allspark.
Allspark and Cybertron.
The Allspark from Cybertron is the Ultron. No, it's not actually.
No, Galactus. You're right. So people talk about Galactus a lot and bringing in Silver Surfer and the Fantastic Four that way, and I enjoy that. I think that's awesome and really interesting. But I don't want a Galactus villain the same way we have Thanos as a villain. Doesn't make sense to me. Galactus is more like global warming or like the White Walkers, To me, it sounds like it's something inevitable where they all have to work together or else they're all screwed.
I like that contrast. Global warming and the White Walkers was like extreme heat or extreme cold. Which one do you want?
So I think it's an inevitable threat, external threat on its way. That's how I see Galactus. But I don't see Galactus as an interesting person that I can relate to. But Magneto, I can. Dr. Doom, I'm sure I could if they told it in a well-done way. Even Crimson Skull or whatever, I could have if they told it in a good way, but they can't. So I think if I was to, I'm just going to give Marvel some advice right now, and I'm just going to say, take your good villains that you've got and use them for more than just their movie. And even Spider-Man too. I think with Spider-Man, they could take some of those villains and move them into theirs if they have the rights to them, but I don't know if they do. But you could take some of those villains and make like Norman Osborn, take him and throw some of his ideas into the overarching story of all the Marvel stuff. I think that'd be a smart way to do it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I hope they do that.
I think what I'm thinking now, just realizing that, so we pretty much just talked about a whole bunch of like cosmic things, right? Because the Eternals, like we see that it looks like it's going to take place in space.
Yep.
There's still going to be like another Guardians movie coming out and another Captain Marvel movie, and like they're all based out in space. Galactus, if that were the case, including Silver Surfer and like potentially the Fantastic Four, like that could all be taking place in space. The only one that is kind of left out right now is Spider-Man, because he's still moving into the next phase.
Right.
Like Far From Home does count as like the next phase of Marvel, right? Like post.
I assume so. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So what I'm trying to trying to like articulate in my head now. I think that because Spider-Man Far From Home seems to have opened up, well, they've definitely opened up this whole multiverse thing, like the whole Spider-Verse aspect, that maybe that's going to tie in to the whole like I guess like the next big core concept of like the movies is going to be something focused more in space as opposed to like the detriment of the Earth. I mean, like at first, like Thanos, he kind of did it just like it was a detriment to like the whole universe. But for us, like on a small scale, it started from just like Earth, because he was like off on his own conquering other planets in the meantime, while Loki and whoever were doing things on Earth. So like our focus as the audience was like, oh, like Earth is in trouble. But now maybe starting with the Eternals, they want to switch our focus to like, oh, like
other
space
things, other
or like
planets,
some other there's some other
civilizations,
planet that's in trouble. Like
that's interesting. And doesn't Captain Marvel say that in the EndGame one? She said there's like other issues going on around the universe.
Yeah, at that time, yeah, but then they probably would have all. Oh, hey, that's interesting. So yeah, like in EndGame, she did say that there are thousands of other planets that are experiencing the exact same thing as Earth.
Right.
When Hulk snapped with the gauntlet and brought everybody back, so far that we know of, he brought everybody back on Earth.
Right.
And I guess our only cue, and like at the same time, Captain Marvel did say, "You won't see me for a while." Like I think for a few months or something like that. So it was odd to see Captain Marvel came back during that fight, like during that big battle scene at the end.
Right.
Because like they did nothing to kind of cue her or like ask her. So we're left open to thinking like, could Doctor Strange, who didn't know about Captain Marvel, contact her? Or did she notice that all of a sudden creatures appeared back on the other planets and decided to drop by planet Earth? Or did she just happen to drop by just because she just felt like it was time? Because then that leaves the idea that maybe on all of the other planets across the rest of the universe, that Hulk didn't actually bring everybody back, that they're still in all this turmoil and we're not quite sure. Yeah. So anyway, just like random thoughts. Yeah.
Could be true. In the future of Marvel. This and more. Who knows? Stay tuned.
More Marvel. Marvel. Marvel comics.
Yes. Anth0z. Yeah, that's the end of my topic. That's all I got, I guess. Anth0z, where can the audience find you?
I'm at home right now, and it's only 8:34.
Everybody, barricade the doors.
If you want to hang out, or if you don't want to come find me, you can search me up on Twitter. That is at Anth0z1.
Hey, and if you'd like to find me, you can catch me also on Twitter at Mattbrush Gaming. And if you want to email this very us,
you can
email us at the Scumm Bar Podcast at gmail.com. You can find our podcast on any of your podcasting platforms. That is the Scumm Bar and Podcast. And also, if you'd like to see our podcast in YouTube form, you can go to YouTube and type in the Scumm Bar Podcast, and there we are. Yay! Anth0z, as we say every single episode,
DuckTales was actually very educational for those who were having trouble at home school.
That's it. That's what we say every episode.
All the time.
Remember that, kids. Okay.
Good luck. Have fun. Quack, 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 quack. I haven't even had any sugar today.